Hello, everybody. It is Brandon, and welcome back to Marotta Media. It's been a while. I know I always say, been busy, but I have been dealing with a lot. You know what? I'm just going to stop saying that going forward. I'm going to post reviews when I have time to post reviews. But I had to make a review today for a movie that I have been looking forward to for so long now. And even though by the time this review comes out, I will be very late on it, but I really don't care. Better late than never. And that movie that I'm reviewing today is Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. This is a movie that I did something that I have never done in my entire life. I purchased my tickets for this film a year in advance. I bought my tickets for The Odyssey in July of 2025, and the movie did not come out until July of 2026. So yes, I'm going to dedicate an entire video to this movie because it just seems insane that I would buy my tickets that far ahead and not make a video about it. The Odyssey is a story that is thousands of years old. I feel like everybody should know what the Odyssey is by now. It has inspired countless other works throughout history. But just in case you're not familiar, the movie follows Odysseus, who is played by Matt Damon in the movie. The story is told out of order in a non-linear fashion where we see Odysseus trying to make his way home. As I said, just like everybody else in the world, I had sky-high expectations for this film. If you guys have been subscribed to me for a while, you will know that, like most people, I'm a big fan of Christopher Nolan, and I loved his previous film, Oppenheimer. That was my favorite movie of 2023. I thought that movie was an utter spectacle. The first time I ever watched it, I watched it in IMAX 70mm, and it was an incredible experience. And my experience with The Odyssey was exactly the same. Saw this movie in 70mm, and my God, it is something that I will never, ever forget. The Odyssey is not only the best movie of 2026 at this point, this is probably a top 5 Christopher Nolan movie, in my opinion. The Odyssey is the kind of movie that we will go out of our way and make our way to the movie theaters in order to see it and tell our friends, family, and future children about it. I know it may seem like I'm hyping it up because a lot of people simply just cannot believe that this movie is nearly as good as it is, and to those people I say that is your prerogative. If you want to judge a movie that you haven't seen, then by all means. But just know nobody's going to take your opinion seriously if you judge a movie that you've never seen before. One of the best things about The Odyssey is that this movie contains some of the most memorable, haunting, and just overall incredible scenes of any film to come out in 2026. From the scene when Odysseus and his men meet the Cyclops, to their encounter in Hades, to the invasion of Troy within the Trojan horse, this movie has so many incredible moments. Christopher Nolan did something that I've never seen him do with this film. He was able to blend all of these different genres together because The Odyssey feels like it could be categorized as more than one specific genre. At times, this movie feels like a historical war film. There are times where it feels like a straight-up action film. At times, it feels like an adventure movie. There are times where it feels like a love story. And there are even moments where this movie is borderline horror. There is one specific scene that I'm sure you've heard about by now involving a character known as Cersei, played by Samantha Morton, perfectly, I might add. And this scene is literally body horror, and I know a lot of people have said we need to see Christopher Nolan make a horror movie, especially after seeing this, and I would agree with that, because I would absolutely watch it. And I even think Christopher Nolan improved on some things that he has been criticized for in the past within The Odyssey. When it came to things like the Dark Knight films, I know a lot of people said that Christopher Nolan doesn't know how to direct action, and I would disagree with that for the most part. I could see where that criticism is coming from, but I don't think his action direction is that bad. But I think he corrects that so well within The Odyssey. The action in this film is so well shot, edited, and choreographed. Another big criticism that I've heard of Christopher Nolan's movies is the way he writes female characters. I think that's something he improved on within The Odyssey too, but I think that he started to become better with Oppenheimer. I thought the character of Kitty Oppenheimer in that movie was so well written, but it helps that Emily Blunt gave a phenomenal performance. And I think the same can be said about Penelope, played by Anne Hathaway in The Odyssey. I love the way this character was written, and Anne Hathaway gives, in my opinion, an Oscar-worthy performance. I will play devil's advocate a little bit because The Odyssey is a story that was adapted, it's thousands of years old, and Oppenheimer was a true story. So it's probably much easier to write better female characters when you have source material to pull from. Nonetheless, I think that the female characters in both movies, but primarily The Odyssey, are very well written. And just from a technical standpoint, this movie is second to none. This movie is immaculately made. Christopher Nolan brought back his team from Oppenheimer for the most part, including all of the Oscar winners. Cinematographer Hoyte van Hoytema returns for The Odyssey, and it looks unbelievable. Editor Jennifer Lame has returned as well, and I love the way this film is edited. And of course, you have the future GOAT himself, Ludwig Göransson. This guy is incredible. This guy is really going to be the next GOAT when it comes to musical score composition. And if he does not win his 4th Oscar for The Odyssey, I will be stunned. But it isn't just the crew that makes this film great. The cast is outstanding. I don't think there is a single bad performance in this entire movie. There are some performances that are definitely weaker than others, but for the most part, I was impressed by everybody here. Matt Damon, Anne Hathaway, Tom Holland, Robert Pattinson are all the stars of the show here. But you also have people like John Bernthal, John Leguizamo, Himesh Patel, Lupita Nyong'o, Charlize Theron, Benny Safdie, Elliot Page, Mia Goth. I mean, the cast here is absolutely loaded, and sure, not all of those characters have a lot of screen time, but I think everybody does a fantastic job with the time that they do have on screen. But what I loved most about The Odyssey was just how accessible Christopher Nolan made this film for people who might not be familiar with the source material. If you go into The Odyssey and you don't have any knowledge of it, then I don't think that will hinder your experience at all. My only piece of advice that I would give would be that you should have at least a little bit of familiarity with Greek mythology. But other than that, you really don't need to have previous knowledge of this story or the characters. If you just know Greek mythology a little bit about the gods, Zeus, Zeus's law, the other gods like Poseidon and all that, then I think you will be fine. And that is the beauty of this movie, because a lot of people have said The Odyssey is terrible, even though they haven't seen it, because it's historically inaccurate. Those are the same people that praise movies like Troy, even though that movie is also not historically accurate. People were bashing the casting choices, especially when it came to Helen of Troy, who is played by Lupita Nyong'o. But Helen of Troy is played by Diane Kruger in Troy, who is a German woman, so I guess if you want to get technical, that's not historically accurate either. I'm not trying to bash Troy, I'm just saying that these movies don't need to be 100% historically accurate, especially if it's a fictional story. The Odyssey is not real. Because Christopher Nolan gave us a superb original vision for this 1,000-year-old story. This movie is truly the definition of spectacle. The fact that they actually went all over the world to make this film, and all of the practical effects that they used throughout it, just makes me appreciate filmmaking that much more. In this time of automation that we live in, it just makes me so happy to see movies like this being made, because we need movies like this. Movies from people that have ambition, drive, scope, and just love the art of filmmaking. The Odyssey is an incredible story about war, ego, pride, and how much things can change when you just aren't around to witness it. I truly think that Christopher Nolan knocked it out of the park with this film. It is the best movie of 2026 by a country mile. And overall, I would give The Odyssey a 10 out of 10. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching my review of The Odyssey. If you guys saw this movie, let me know what you thought about it. Did you love it? Did you hate it for some reason? But either way, comment down below, I'd love to know. If you guys like this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe. If you want to see my previous videos, I will link those right over here. Other than that, I hope you all have a tremendous rest of your day. And I will see you all next time.